It was a devastating uppercut that sped directly across his right eye. It ripped open the upper and lower lid at once. It appeared with the suddenness of a lightning bolt, and it put him on his back for nearly 3 minutes. It was the classic punch that came in the 7th round of the scheduled 15-round fight pitting Indian Red Lopez against Jose Napoles. It was the knockout punch that proved to Indian Red he really hadn't learned as much as he thought, and certainly not enough to win the title at this time. It was the punch that put the finishing touches on what turned out to be the fight of the year. There were those who said Napoles was washed up as world welterweight champion. And there was a guy named Indian Red who thought he learned enough from the last time around.
Lopez, who has the ring nickname Indian Red, he's part Ute Indian, part Scottish-Irish. Napoles, born in Cuba, fighting out of Mexico. Moved away after Fidel Castro banned boxing, banned professional boxing. And here in the 4th defense of his title. Napoles has the ring nickname Mantequilla, called that by the Spanish fans, and the reason being that they think he's as smooth as butter. Well, let's see if he is tonight. Lopez has really gone in there quickly. Very, very game fighter, and unquestionably world-class. Lopez, 24 years old. Napoles, 5 years older at 29. Lopez got this title chance by knocking out Hedgeman Lewis in the 10th round back in October. And he's really fancying his chances here. Napoles unbeaten since 1966. He's taking a few shots from Lopez in the early stages here in the 1st round. Good left hand from Lopez. Good body shot from the challenger. You saw the hand speed there, though, of Napoles. Oh, left hand from Lopez. Lopez got through with the left of the body, and he was caught back. A perfect counter from Napoles. He's been stunned. I think he's all right. But you saw the blinding hand speed of Jose Napoles there. Well, anxious times now for Lopez, who started so well. He's bravely coming forward. But Mantequilla, Jose Napoles, in round 1, has his man down, and he's now looking to go in there and loading big bombs, and he's looking to take Lopez out. Another good right hand from Napoles. Full credit though for Lopez, he's not taking a backward step. I'm not sure how wise that is. He's getting in there and looking to trade with Napoles, looking to macho it out. Jose Napoles, the defending champion, on the right-hand side of the picture, in control, with the 1 knockdown in the opening round. Now looking as though he's on his way to retaining his title. Lopez, big favourite in Los Angeles. Also a big Hispanic population in LA. They're firmly behind the champion Napoles. Picking Lopez off with that left jab. And in all honesty, the further this fight has gone, the more one-sided it's become. Oh, good hand speed again from Napoles. That was a real smart combination, left-right, thudded into the jaw of the challenger. Looking to mix it up with the hook. Lopez so game, doesn't like to take a backward step, but he's being forced to do so by this relentless jab of Napoles. Napoles tonight in his 64th professional fight. A brilliant amateur career. He's carrying that out through the pro ranks. Lopez gamely trying to go to the body, trying to get Napoles to drop his guard. Such good footwork as well from the champion. Left hand. Lopez felt that one. Just for a moment he looked as though he was stung by that left hook. Sugar Ray Robinson, certainly a fascinated observer, I'm sure, at ringside. Good left hand from Lopez. Still in there and still dangerous. And good body shots as well, came off the ropes well. A great right hand by Napoles. Terrific right hand, that was one that did the damage. Lopez has been stunned by it bravely, he's getting back to his feet, he's getting the standing 8 count. Napoles getting $100,000 tonight in defence of this title. Many people comparing him now with Sugar Ray Robinson. Ray Robinson, in many people's eyes, the finest pound-for-pound fighter who'd ever stepped into a ring. Napoles, though, if not quite in the same bracket as Ray Robinson, certainly a very, very fine fighter in his own right. And he's making a good fighter in Ernie Indian Red Lopez look distinctly ordinary. Napoles has been a pro for 11 years. His first 18 fights in Havana. Now, though, a superstar in his own right in the United States. Good left hand from Lopez. Lopez so brave. He's been down twice. He was down in the opening period, down again in the 9th, but he's still going in there, throwing leather, looking to unload bombs in the final period. Let's go to the body now. And to Kia, and with the smooth skills.
No cae, definitivamente, aunque ha sufrido 2 caídas en el transcurso de la pelea. Una en el primer round.
Oh, good straight right from Lopez. He really caught Napoles there, but Napoles got a crazy right. It's a right hand that's put him down. Well, what about that? Napoles took a terrific right hand from Lopez. He came storming back, and he really has, I think, got nothing left now. Ernie Lopez is in big trouble in there. He's fighting in slow motion. He's on rubbery legs. Napoles. Oh, he's caught him again. Another big left hand. The referee's having a very close look in there. Napoles looking to take him out, looking to end this. And he has done. The referee stops it with 22 seconds remaining. Victory for Jose Napoles.
There was a manager by the name of Howie Steinler who was hoping to make history by managing 2 brothers who held the separate world crowns at the same time. He was hoping that Ernie and Danny Lopez would give him that honor. There were also those who believed the long reign of Napoles was coming to an end, and those who felt the Napoles-Lopez fight would bring the next of boxing's greatest upsets. They felt Lopez was in the best condition of his career. Napoles, the 32-year-old Cuban expatriate champion from Mexico City, was favored over the 27-year-old Lopez from Los Angeles. Smooth as butter Napoles was 68-5 with 49 knockouts. Indian Red was 47-7-1 with 23 knockouts. The gate was more than $185,000, with more than 17,000 fans flocking to the fabulous form in Inglewood, California. Jose had the first 2 rounds easy, but turned into a madman when a Lopez right opened a bad cut over his right eye. It was up to Angelo Dundee to do some fancy patching between rounds. But Angelo couldn't patch up Napoles' disposition. He was still fuming when he answered the bell. Ernie used the opportunity to deliver punishment for his KO loss to Napoles. He put together his best round. Round 4 showed Indian Red boxing beautifully and using some more sharp rights to open another cut in the corner of the injured eye. It looked like Lopez had the fight. But the taste of his own blood acted like a shot of adrenaline for Napoles. He came back with a constant barrage of punches in the 5th, and Red was tiring from the attacks. Lopez was able to land some more punches until a bad left hook buckled his knees with only a minute left in the round. This was where the tables turned, and Mantequilla, repeatedly using that left, almost dropped Ernie in the final 10 seconds. Napoles seemed to be taking it easy in the 6th, but in the 7th was back on the job and pounding Red constantly with jolting hooks. But this was only the preview for the coming attraction. An unbelievable uppercut smashing directly across Red's right eye and ripped open the upper and lower lid. The punch almost tore Ernie's eye right out of its socket and sent him sprawling to the canvas. Referee Dick Young started the count at 1 minute and 33 seconds, but he could have taken his time. It took almost 3 minutes to get Ernie off the floor and escort him back to his corner. "Don't take him to the stool," said the doctor. "Bring the stool to him." Steinler, Lopez's trainer, was flabbergasted by the punch. He said he'd never seen anything like it. "It must have hit an optic nerve or something," Steinler said. "It happened so fast, I'll be damned if I can remember," said Lopez after. After the knockout, Napoles cradled Lopez's head and repeated, "Please wake up. Please wake up." Lopez's life went into a tailspin after the 1973 loss to Napoles. He fought 2 more bouts and lost both in technical knockouts. He was divorced from his wife and took to a life of wandering. His brother, Danny Little Red Lopez, said, "It was the losses to Napoles and the divorce that sent Ernie into a tailspin." He was a hurt man. Lopez's ex-wife also attributed the decline to the loss to Napoles. She said, "I think he lost confidence. His goal was destroyed. He was depressed and angry. We started having marital problems." For 12 years, from 1992 through 2004, Indian Red Lopez was out of touch with his family and was considered a missing person. His ex-wife said, "The last time I saw him, he was kind of a street person." That was in 1992. He gave up all of his possessions and then went out in the world like a person wandering. It was really sad because he just gave up. It wouldn't be until early of 2004 when Indian Red was selected for induction into the California Boxing Hall of Fame. With the impetus of the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, a police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department agreed to assist Lopez's family in trying to locate him. In February of 2004, Lopez was discovered living in a homeless shelter in Fort Worth, Texas. When contacted by his ex-wife in 2004, Lopez said, "I'm not lost. I'm right here." On learning of his selection for the Hall of Fame, Indian Red Lopez told the Los Angeles Times, "Why are they doing this for me? I wasn't good enough for the Hall of Fame." Shortly thereafter, Lopez was reunited with his 4 children and 23 grandchildren. His story became the subject of multiple newspaper and television stories, with reporters and television cameras coming to the homeless shelter to interview him. He told the Los Angeles Times at the time that he did not recall why he moved to Fort Worth, but he recalled living with a church family in Missouri, shoveling snow for a hotel owner in Portland, Maine, sleeping in New York Central Park, working construction in Florida, and cleaning hotel rooms in Phoenix. He told another reporter, "I've been all over the United States. Might have missed a few states, but it's sure a nice place. But I never stayed too long anywhere." On October 3, 2009, Ernie Indian Red Lopez would die in Pleasant Grove, Utah, from complications of dementia. He was 64 years old. After defeating Lopez, Napoles would travel to Grenoble, France, where he would retain the crown with the 15-round decision over Roger Minitre. He would then travel to Toronto, Canada, where he would defeat Clyde Gray, once again, retaining the world title with the 15-round decision. After these victories, many boxing fans were asking for a fight between Napoles and world middleweight champion Carlos Monzon. The fight was made possible when Napoles moved in weight to challenge Monzon for the title, so the two fought on February 9th, 1974, at a parking lot in Paris.
And of course in Canada. So round 1 then, the sizing up round. And it's this tall 6-footer Monzon who'll be pecking away with that left hand. And I've seen him fight a few times. He's a slow starter. That will suit Napoles. We'll be able to figure this fella out for a round or 2, unless they unload their bums pretty early, but we'll soon find out. Just to recap then, the weight in pounds: 153 1/4 to Napoles, 159 1/2 to Monzon. Well, as you expect between two cagey, experienced fellas now, a reconnaissance opening round. This fellow Monzon has been unbeaten in his last 75 fights, when the first blood, as it were, getting through with Napoles' left hook. So at the end of the first minute of that opening round, it was a left hook field there from Napoles. And Monzon does take a good shot, so he's really got to catch him right. Two of the best record fighters of all time you're watching. Monzon, 94 fights, lost only 3, all on points, and he's unbeaten in his last 74 fights in the last 10 years. Napoles lost 5 of 77 fights, a tremendous performance, never been stopped or cut or KO'd. He's been cut with Billy Backus, but he's never been stopped. So midway then, in the opening round, we're still really enjoying this tremendous atmosphere under the big top here in Paris. Fantastic atmosphere, it really is. They've crowded them in here in a setting that's never been seen before for a battle between two world champions. Promoter of this fight, famous movie actor Alain Delon. And I should imagine he'd be very pleased with these pictures. So half a minute to go in the opening round then. And he tried that one for size, Monzon, that long right hand, a lazy looking punch. Deceptive looking fighter, Monzon. He doesn't look to have too much class, but believe me, those punches of his count. He's a mule, as they say. That's his nickname, and that's as it comes. He really plods and punches away there, and just war of attrition. So we're coming up to the last 10 of this round then. So then at the end of the first round, not too much action, but let's see how Gil Clancy looked at that one.
Well, I felt that the Napoles looked very confident. He was putting a lot of pressure on Monzon, and Monzon seemed very tight. I gave that round to Napoles.
Hedgeman, and how did you see it? Hedgeman Lewis.
I saw it basically the same way, although Napoles was missing some of his bigger shots. His left hook was missing. Monzon is the type of fighter that's always pulling back, so he's going to be a problem in that sense because of the height and the weight difference.
All right, then, let's recap on those records. Napoles lost only 5 of 77 fights, all 3 on points, 2 by cuts, never been knocked out. Held a championship for longer than we care to talk about. He's had 12 championship fights. Monzon, 94 fights, lost 3. He's unbeaten in his last 75, and he's made 8 successful defenses of the middleweight championship, a record. So in round 2. And this gangling middleweight champion then hoping to use this reach advantage against the super welterweight champion, who most good judges put certainly in the first 3, I think, of all time. And Napoles getting to work with those combination punches early on now. He's ducking inside Monzon's lead. Monzon is a slow starter, but is a good stamina fighter. Has looked very good in the latter part of the fights that I've seen him in. And as Napoles' knees went away from him there in the first minute of the second round, you can see that the welterweight was in a bit of trouble there. He lost a bit of control there. And I like the way Napoles has moved back in, trying to take the play away from Monzon. This, it seems to me, is living up to all expectations of a double champion fight. What a good left jab, that one. Well, he double jabs with that left hand, and then that right hand's like a bolt there from Monzon, an old-fashioned one, too. He hits a postman's knock punch. He rat-tats with the left hand, and then he shoots that. Here it is. He's setting it up again. Look, almost like a tug. Bango. There it goes. So under a minute to go then in round 2. A bit surprised the way Napoles is taking the fight to the heavier man, spotting him 6 1/4 pounds. Napoles 33, Monzon is aged 31. So half a minute to go in round 2 then. Countdown time for them. If either get knocked down, of course, the count will continue if the bell interrupts it, except at the last round, if it goes that long. And the way these fellas are punching, that looks a bit unlikely, doesn't it? The referee's doing it. It's an easy fight to referee, of course, but he's doing a good job so far. He's staying well away from it. As we come up then, 5, 4, 3 into the last round. The seconds are putting the stalls into the ring. The end of the second round. And what a good round that was. Gil Clancy.
Well, as you see, Napoles is trying to force his way in, but he's got a tough problem with a big, strong man like Monzon. And now Monzon's right hand is really starting to find the rage. There was one right there. He looks awkward. He's moving back, but he punishes it. There was a good left hook and another right hand. He's got good hands, and they're on target right now.
Well, I agree with that. It's certainly a spectacular fight from our point of view. There's a great deal of excitement generating right through this big top on the outskirts of Paris. It really is the most unlikely place to stage the championship of the world. Napoles there, born in Santiago, Cuba, now a Mexican citizen and married not so long ago, and now has a 2-year-old son. Monzon, born out there in Argentine, started as a sort of newspaper seller and one of a big family of boys, and now owns his own ranch. So round 3 then of this scheduled 15-round championship for the middleweight championship of the world, with the challenger, the welterweight championship of the world, Jose Napoles. This certainly suits Monzon for Napoles to walk in rather square stance, but on the other hand, if he's got to get inside that guard, there's no use him standing off. He's going to be hit by the longer punches. He's got to duck inside. He's looking to do that a bit now. Obviously, the corner have worked on him to get inside and work to the body the whole time. But this is one of the most durable middleweights you'll ever see. He holds the record for middleweight defenses. He's already made his name in the record book. There'll be a lot of people saying, well, he wouldn't have beaten Robinson or Zale or those sort of people. But this fellow gets by, believe me. He doesn't look the part, but he manages. He even defeated my co-commentator's manager a couple of times, Emil Griffiths, although I'm sure later the Gil Clancy would tell us he was a bit lucky, but we'll wait for that in a minute. Looks to me as though Monzon is not going to refuse to be budged from this pattern, Gil. He wants to stand there and hold the ring the whole time and use the left jab.
Yes, Napoles really has to take chances. He has to reach. And now when he is getting inside, Monzon is just able to push him off. He's so much bigger and stronger.
Keep the score, will you, Gil? Crude but effective, you could say there, Monzon. There's about a minute to go in this round, but that's the way to double up that left hook. Napoles has got the right idea there. He's got to get over the top of that left lead. And he does it. He shoots a right-hand punch over the top of the left lead and then tries to double up with the left hook. I know that's a bit technical, but if you can keep your eye on that. Certainly Monzon isn't keeping his eye on it all the time. He's getting tagged with it. There again. It really is punch for punch all the way. We're coming up then to the last part of this round. Referee Balderou of France keeping well away from these two, and well he might. They really know their business. So the end of round 3. Let's just have a record recap here for a moment then. As Napoles has lost and regained the title from Billy Backus within 6 months. He's had 12 title fights, 10 successful defenses. He was born in Santiago, Cuba, and he's now a Mexican citizen. And there's some French film stars around the ring. I think that's Francois Fabian. He won the title Napoles from Curtis Coates in 13 rounds in Los Angeles in '69. His last 2 title fights, by the way, have both gone the 15 rounds course. That was with Clyde Gray, the British Commonwealth champion up in Canada, and Roger Menetre, the European champion, and that was in France. He also KO'd Ernie Red Lopez in 7 last February in Los Angeles. So into round 4 then, and again to you, if you happen to be late joining us, welcome to all the cinemas throughout the United States and in Canada for this super battle of champions. The world middleweight champion Carlos Monzon from Argentine, Jose Napoles from Mexico. And you'll have no trouble there spotting Napoles, the dark-skinned Cuban with the white stripe on his trunks there. And he's taking the fight the whole time now to Monzon. So now, how do you pick it at this stage now, Gil Clancy?
Well, Reg, Napoles is starting to find the range with the jab a little bit, and I think that's going to be his most effective punch. If he can make that work, then Monzon's going to be in a little trouble. You watch, he tries to set up and jab after Monzon.
Well, there's one thing, Gil, you can be sure. This fellow Napoles has got the gift of the jab. I agree with you, Gil. This fellow Napoles is fighting the smart fight now. He's tucking himself inside Monzon as much as he can. Oh, and what an exchange of punches this is. What a good round. Round 4. Well, following on the Ali Frazier fight, I didn't think we could get one to match it, but this is matching it in class, craft, strength, everything. These fellows really have it, don't they? There's nothing phony about these two. Headsman Lewis, you fought Napoles. How is he fighting now compared to when he fought you? Would you fight a different kind of fight as a welterweight?
I think if I was boxing Monzon, I would fight a very different fight. As you see, Napoles is pulling out and getting caught on the very end of the long right hand. I think that Napoles should try and move closer in on the right hand rather than going to the outside.
So they're coming up to 45 seconds left in this round. What a good battle of wits this is the whole time. They're trying to match each other for brain as well as brawn, and he's still tagging Napoles with that right hand a bit, Monzon. It looks a lazy thing, as though he's a bit scared to throw it. He's had a bit of arthritic trouble of the knuckles of his right hand, but seemed to be carrying enough weight with that one. Very deceptive-looking puncher, as Emil Griffiths can tell you. So the countdown to the end of this round now. So let's have a recap there of these two great fighters. As I said, Napoles is 33, Monzon here 31. 8 successful defenses of the middleweight championship. 6 of those have been in Europe. In Argentine, he defeated Benny Briscoe of America and Emil Griffiths of the Virgin Islands, and now of America, of course. And he twice fought Jean-Claude Boutier in Paris. He took the championship away from Nino Benvenuti and beat him in 3 rounds in a return in Monte Carlo. I saw him fight Denny Moya, another American fighter, in Rome, and stopped him too. twice defeated Griffiths, one in the 14th round in Buenos Aires in 71, and outpointed Griffiths at Monte Carlo last June. Well, I don't think records and statistics mean much now, because this is all what's happening right here and now. So round 5 then. Carlos Monzon, skating, almost looking like a skater, this tall fellow who reminds me, I would have thought, of actor Anthony Quinn, playing the part of a young prize fighter, doesn't he? He really is a swarthy, handsome guy, really a tough bull of the pampas, who's fought his way out of poverty, and he's found out that the quickest way from poverty to plenty is in the prize ring. But the relaxed style of Napoles, the man who puts him, I think, among the all-time greats in this division, up there with Sugar Ray Robinson, and I have to say Elmer Griffiths, who you know who's sitting next to me. Gil, how would you rate Napoles in the all-time list anyway?
I'd say that Napoles is one of the greatest welterweights that ever lived. He has to be in the top 3. It all depends on what style you like.
Well, that's probably the first time the English and Americans have ever agreed over a controversial thing like that. So let's get on with the fight, because it really is all happening here in Paris. You feel as though you're almost in there with them over that top rope there, and you're probably ducking in your seats back home, I would think, in case you cop one from this Monzon. He's teeing Napoles up for a punch, pushing him, prodding him with that left hand, and looking to shoot the right-hand punch. It's obvious, but effective. And Napoles is first to show blood. He looks as though he's cut around the right eye. It's difficult to tell whether it's superficial or not at this stage. I do hope that an injury doesn't spoil it. There was a time when he lost his world championship this way against Billy Backus up in Syracuse, a fight that nobody expected him to lose, except maybe Backus. But he regained that championship with a minute to go in the 5th round now. And he's in a bit of trouble, Napoles, there's no doubt about it. And this is going to take a lot of skill from the corner man. Angelo Dundee and Ferdy Pacheco have got to get working with those coagulates now to pull this welterweight champion together. I said Monzon was a slow starter, and I was right. He's opening up a lot more in this round than he was at the start. And he's tagging Napoles. He's got Napoles in a lot of trouble. Where he wants to, he's hardly missing with a punch. And Napoles bravely trying to battle it out with him there. But it looks as though he may club him down. He may not have enough time in this round to do it. What an effective show this is from the middleweight champion Monzon. But we're getting to the countdown at the end of the 5th round. No, then the bell has saved Napoles.
Reggie, that right hand of Monzon's is so effective. As you pointed out, it looks like a lazy right hand, but it has the kick of a mule. So far, it's managed to fool every fighter that he's ever fought. There it is, right in there. There goes another one. That right hand is just beautiful. And as I say, his hands are so accurate. Everything is right on the mark. There's 2 more. It's a miracle that Napoli survived the round. There's another one right on the chin. And another one.
This is probably the most severe punishment, Gil, that Napoles has had to take. The full marks to him for courage. There's nothing short of this fella's ticker, is there? He really does take a good shot, and to me, that makes him an even greater champion.
Champions all have big heart. That's what makes them champions.
So after that slow motion, back to the double speed then in round 6, and we'll see what effect that punishment in round 5 had on Napoles. Really was in trouble there. Now, can he ride this storm? This now has got to be the big thing for the welterweight champion. This adage about the little one can't beat the big one in the fight game looks at this stage of the fight as though that could be right. But there are records to disprove that. 6 welterweight champions have in fact won the middleweight championship, including Elmer Griffiths, as I had a nudge on my knee to point out there, and of course the great Sugar Ray Robinson was another, and Mickey Walker, and so on. You think Napoles might get on his bike a bit here and move around and try and get out of trouble a little, but it doesn't look as though he's got the legs to do it, does it, at 33 at the moment, with a minute gone then in round 6.
Monzon is able to manhandle him. He's just so much stronger inside. You notice the way he just pushed him away then.
Yeah, 6.5 pounds or 6.25 pounds really does make a difference at this level of weight. And Napoles back in trouble again now as he backed off onto those ropes. He really needs the center of the ring now to try and get out of a bit of trouble. He's got more maneuverability there. Yes, he's using it now. One wonders if Napoles was defeated here, whether this would be the end of him, whether he could get back to that welterweight division, having gone up from 147 to 153.25 to this fight. It's hardly likely, I would have thought, that he can get back to 147 and still be a force as a fighter. Look at the effective punching of this man, Monzon. He does not miss with one, does he? Oh, he really teed Napoles up for that one. It was almost like a golf shot off the first tee. He looked as though he got his driver out and said, well, here it comes, right down the middle.
He has Napoles backing up now, which is a bad thing for Napoles.
I think the difference is the size. He's just pushing him around, and Napoles is really a light guy.
He's only got 10 seconds to last this round. 7, 6, 5. I don't think he can. Yes, he'll make this round all right. That's good news for Napoles, but he is in trouble. And was he pleased to hear the sound of that bell?
Reggie, I'd like to point out that Angelo Dundee did a beautiful job on that cut. Now we see in slow motion. Watch the accuracy of this man's hands.
You'd have thought Napoles might have tried to walk in and grab Monzon for safety there in the same way that Ali kept nullifying Frazier. But he doesn't do that, Gil, this fella. He doesn't know about that, does he?
Not only he doesn't do it, but he couldn't do it with this man. This man is too strong. Ali is a big, strong heavyweight, and he was able to grab Frazier. But Monzon just pushes him off and pulls him around the way he wants to.
Yeah, he really is a remarkable man. Now you can see why he's made 8 successful defenses of the World Middleweight Championship. And they're using this 60 seconds in this corner now, almost like surgeons. They've got to pull this man together, give him every bit of spirit that they can give him, and send him off that stool with some hope. No, it looks like
Angelo Dundee will not let him come out.
At the start of round 7, Angelo Dundee will not let Napoles come out. Start of round 7.
Start of round 7. The bell rang for round 7, and Angelo Dundee said no, he would not come out.
And they've gone crazy in there, as you can see in the Argentine's corner, as Monzon has really made Napoles quit in the corner. They're going crazy in the ring, as one would expect. This is a tremendous performance by Carlos Monzon. Sheer strength, accuracy of punch of this big, handsome brute of a fighter, nothing short of that. As he talks to his folks back home there in Argentine, he has retained the world middleweight champion for the 9th time. And there you see it in fast speed again. In that round, it looks as though they've even speeded up a little, I think. Back to slow motion or not. No, there you are. Close up the man who's defended the championship almost without a blemish there. Certainly he's had to sweat a little bit. He's had a little sweat there to keep it going. He thought that Napoles may use his guile a little bit more than he could. But this fella's sheer strength with that chopping right hand, almost like a tomahawk, I would have thought, cut poor Napoles down to size. And I've always been a great admirer of Jose Napoles. And any man that can do that to him must be a good champion of the world. Gil?
See those punches, those punishing punches. Well, this is another successful defense for Carlos Monzon. Now, I guess the only fighter in the future for him is Rodrigo Valdez.
I'm going to try and talk to Dundee. Say I'm going to try and talk to Dundee. Say it.
We're going to try to talk to Angelo Dundee right now.
Okay, so we now have Angelo Dundee to tell us exactly what happened in that corner. Angelo?
He got thumbed badly the round before, so we gave him one more shot. He couldn't see, both eyes. He got thumbed pretty good from both hands, and the kid couldn't see, so it was useless. Let him go out there. He was catching too many shots.
How bad was that cut, Angelo?
The cut's right on the inside of the eye was done by a thumb.
There has been this complaint before, of course. Allegation that Monzon did this to Boutier in Paris. Do you now subscribe to that?
I do subscribe to it. He definitely thumbed. And the kid thumbed him, and the guy did a good job of it and practically put his eye out. His cut is right in the corner of the eye. No way a punch could have done it.
Well, Angelo, it looked like being such a great fight. Monzon is a tremendous fighter. All things being equal, do you still think Napoles could have won it?
I think if he didn't sustain the injury, it would have been a great fight. But
thanks a lot, Angelo.
Right on.
I'm going to sit down.
78 kilos.
All right. Well, you got it almost there from the horse's mouth. As you heard, there was an allegation that Dundee thought that his man was thumbed. I'm sorry that it had to end that way, but also it was a good performance by Carlos.
This would be Napoles' only bout in the middleweight division, and he would be defeated by Monzon. He would go back to the welterweight division and retain his title twice before the year ended, with a knockout in 9 over Hedgeman Lewis and a knockout in 3 rounds over Horacio Saldano. In 1975, Napoles had 2 wins over Armando Muniz, both times to retain his title. The first time, a technical decision win in 12 rounds at Acapulco, was a controversial win, so a return match was fought in Los Angeles, where Napoles prevailed by decision. In December 6th of 1975, Napoles would lose his title to British boxing teacher John H. Stracey. After this fight, Napoles announced his retirement. Remarkably, he was able to stay away from the temptation of a comeback. In 1985, he would be inducted into the Ring Boxing Hall of Fame, and in 1990, he would be inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame. He remains alive today, at the age of 77, living in Ciudad Juarez, Chihuahua, Mexico, with his wife Bertha and his 9 children.